A lot of the time, the people who are in the spotlight are not the real stars. This is certainly true of Gloria Gaither, who for decades has stood beside her husband, Bill Gaither, as the quiet yet profound force behind some of the most enduring gospel music. Now, with a voice that has been softened by age, and a tone that is filled with tearful honesty, she seems to be saying one of her most difficult goodbyes. This farewell is not only to the stage she has graced for decades, but also possibly to the millions of people who have found comfort, faith, and hope through her words. The question many fans are asking is, what truly happened behind the scenes that brought Gloria Todd his emotional farewell? And why does it feel like the world of gospel music is bracing for one of its most heartbreaking chapters? For decades, Gloria Gaither has been recognized as more than just the wife of gospel icon Bill Gaither. She has been the poetic force, the emotional anchor, and the voice of faith behind some of the most enduring songs in Christian history. As the co-writer of countless Gaither classics, her lyrics have touched millions with their timeless wisdom and unwavering faith. Today, at 82 years old, Gloria has shared a heartfelt message with her fans. A message that marks a turning point in her life and career. In a recent video released by the Gaither Music Group, Gloria appeared visibly moved as she expressed gratitude for decades of prayers, support, and love from her audience. Her voice trembled slightly as she began. There comes a time when you feel a gentle tug on your heart, a sense that God is calling you to a quieter season. Though she stopped short of using the word retirement, her words clearly hinted at stepping away from large public appearances and the stage that defined so much of her life. Instead, Gloria revealed her desire to spend more time with her family, to focus on writing, and to embrace moments of peace and reflection. This is a stark contrast to her decades of touring, performing, and ministry. Before she became known as a legendary lyricist and the matriarch of Southern gospel, Gloria Gaither was simply Gloria Sickle. Born on March 4, 1942 in Michigan, she grew up in a Christian home rooted in strong moral values, deep faith, and a love for education, literature, and music. Gloria showed an early gift for language and expression. She excelled in school where her passion for poetry, writing, and the arts was evident. After finishing high school, she enrolled at Anderson University, a Christian college in Indiana, to study English. It was here that she not only sharpened her intellect, but also deepened her spiritual foundation, preparing her for the incredible journey ahead. At Anderson, Gloria's life changed when she met a young and energetic music teacher named Bill Gaither. At first, their relationship was simply professional. Bill was already exploring gospel music, having formed the Gaither trio with his brother and sister. Yet, their shared passion for faith, creativity, and ministry soon drew them closer. In 1962, the two married, beginning a partnership that would transform the landscape of Christian music forever. Initially, Gloria continued her career as an English teacher at Alexandria High School, while Bill pursued music full-time, but her talent for language could not remain hidden. Her poetic insight and lyrical gifts soon began weaving their way into the trio's songs. Bill would create the melodies and Gloria would bring them to life with heartfelt words that resonated deeply with audiences. Her breakthrough moment came with the iconic hymn, "Because He Lives," a song born during one of the most turbulent times in their lives. By the late 1960s, Bill and Gloria seemed to embody the perfect Christian life. They were happily married, raising children, and pouring themselves into ministry. Yet beneath the surface, both were navigating profound struggles. The world outside was in chaos. The Vietnam War raged on. The civil rights movement was reshaping the nation, and traditional Christian values were under challenge. Within their home, Bill was battling exhaustion from the demands of constant touring, while Gloria, pregnant with their third child, was overwhelmed with anxiety about the kind of world in which she would raise her baby. In this season of uncertainty, they leaned heavily on their faith. During a moment of prayer and quiet reflection, Gloria experienced a wave of peace and assurance in God's promises. Out of this deeply spiritual encounter, the words to "Because He Lives" began to form. The psalm was not written from a place of ease, but from fear, struggle, and a desperate need for hope. That is why it struck such a powerful chord with people everywhere. When it was recorded in 1971, it quickly became a global anthem, giving Christians courage in times of hardship. The success of Because He Lives catapulted both Bill and Gloria into a new realm of influence. But it especially marked Gloria as a profound theological voice and a gifted poet whose words could stir hearts and souls. Despite the growing spotlight, Gloria never lost her humility. She continued to write prolifically not only songs, but devotionals, books, and reflections on family, faith, and purpose. Alongside Bill, she co-wrote more than 700 songs, many of which became church staples around the world. What made Gloria's writing unique was the way she would deep theology together with raw humanity. Shedded right from an ivory tower. She wrote from the real-life trenches of motherhood, ministry, joy, and grief. Through the 1970s and 1980s, as the Gaither vocal band rose in popularity and the Gaither Homecoming video series was born, Gloria's influence remained ever present. Though she was rarely the one holding the microphone, her voice was everywhere in the lyrics and the prayers, in the heartfelt reflections that touch audiences around the globe. During this era, she also became a mentor to younger Christian artists and a sought-after speaker at women's conferences. Her thoughtful intellectual style stood out in a male-dominated industry, offering a calming yet deeply profound perspective. Gloria's gift was not only in her writing, but in her ability to understand the human soul, the struggles, the doubts, the joys, and the unshakable hope found in faith. While the Gaither trio evolved into the Gaither vocal band and the Homecoming series reached millions, Gloria remained a steady force, guiding with her wisdom and grace. Now, as she steps back from public ministry, fans reflect not just on her contributions to gospel music, but on her extraordinary journey from a small-town teacher to one of the most powerful voices of faith through song. By the time the 1970s and 1980s unfolded, Gloria Gaither had solidified her place as a quiet yet revolutionary figure in gospel music. Bill may have stood at center stage, but Gloria was the current beneath it all, the unseen yet unshakable force shaping their spiritual and creative legacy. Their music was never just about entertainment. It was a ministry, and Gloria's lyrics elevated it with a depth and literary elegance that was rare in the genre. In a field often saturated with repetition, Gloria's words stood apart. They were rich with imagery, theological wisdom, and emotional truth. She had a unique gift for turning the grand mysteries of God into intimate lines that could be sung by everyday believers walking through grief, joy, doubt, and faith. Perhaps her greatest contribution was the sense of narrative she brought to gospel music. She didn't simply write songs. She told stories. Stories of despair turned to hope. She was never a type of performer who relied on litter, stage lights, or heels to make an impression. Nor was she simply confined to the traditional role of a pastor's wife singing in the background. Instead, Gloria stood out as an intellectual, a mother, a thinker, and a spiritual guide. All of these identities wrapped together in one extraordinary woman. Her gifts went far beyond the stage. She authored dozens of devotionals, journals, and reflective essays that explored the intersections of faith, culture, identity, and family. These writings were not just words on paper. They became lifelines for women who were navigating the challenges of motherhood, the demands of ministry, and the silent burdens of everyday life. Gloria wrote honestly about struggles. She did not pretend to have every answer, but she knew how to point people toward the one who did. Her legacy stretched far beyond her songs and writings. Gloria made a significant investment in the next generation, pouring herself into education and discipleship alongside her husband. She co-founded the Gaither Family Resources Center and the Gaither Homecoming Bible, both of which became tools for spiritual growth and learning. Through her mentorship and her public platform, she opened doors for younger gospel artists, especially for women who admired her, not just as a songwriter, but also as a role model who proved that substance mattered more than image. In a world that increasingly glorified celebrity culture, Gloria remained grounded and focused on faithfulness. She once reflected, "We never set out to be stars. We set out to be faithful." That commitment has made all the difference. Behind every lyric Gloria Gaither ever wrote was a deeply lived life. She was never flashy, nor did she crave attention. Yet anyone who spent even a brief moment in her presence could feel the quiet gravity of her soul. Her faith was never performative. It was lived, practiced, tested, and refined in the furnace of real life. Perhaps Gloria's greatest ministry was not found on stage, but in the way she showed up in everyday moments. Friends describe her as a careful listener, a thoughtful and discerning presence. She did not rush to fill silence with noise, but instead filled it with peace. In meetings, she was the one who asked the deeper questions. In a crisis, she was the one who brought calm. As a wife, Gloria was fiercely loyal. She and Bill Gaither navigated over 60 years off marriage, walking together not only as partners in music, but as trustlemates. Their relationship, like all, was not without challenges. Raising 3 children while traveling in the road, managing a large ministry, and carrying the weight of public expectations placed great demands on them. Yet through it all, Gloria remained a grounding force, steady and unwavering. As a mother, she was intentional and nurturing. Her children recall how she was always present even when her schedule overflowed. She often wrote songs late at night only after her children had gone to sleep. She took long walks, engaged in meaningful conversations, and taught her children lessons not only about Jesus, but also about compassion, honesty, and responsibility. As a friend, Gloria was loyal and wise, mentoring not only artists but also writers, pastors, and thinkers. Many have credited her with shaping their understanding of Christian vocation. She had a rare gift for recognizing the talents of others and calling those gifts out with love. As a woman of faith, Gloria Gaither stood as a bridge between tradition and the future. She deeply respected the old hymns of the church. Yet she was never afraid to ask hard questions. She held tightly to biblical truth, but also made space for complexity and nuance. Her faith was strong enough to carry such tension. Her life became a testimony of what it truly means to live well, not just publicly, but privately too. She showed that true success in ministry is not measured by fame, but by faithfulness. She demonstrated that a song is only as powerful as the life lived behind it, and that the greatest form of greatness is found in being a servant. Even as she now steps back from public life, Gloria leaves behind far more than a catalog of beloved hymns. She leaves a legacy filled with wisdom, grace, and resilience. Her songs will continue to be sung in churches, at funerals, in hospital rooms, and at family gatherings for generations to come. But even more powerful than her music is her example, which continues to inspire men and women to live lives of meaning, humility, and unshakable faith. In moments like this, it feels fitting to let her own lyrics echo as a farewell. God sent His Son. They called Him Jesus. He came to love, heal, and forgive. He lived and died. Though the world knows Gloria Gaither for her poetic lyrics and spiritual depth, those closest to her know that her first and most important ministry was always her family. Behind every concert, every book, and every song, there was a home, one filled with laughter, conversations, music, and faith. Together, Gloria and Bill raised 3 children, Suzanne, Amy, and Benjamin. Each has been touched by their parents' ministry, but in their own way. Each has been shaped by Gloria's steady hand and nurturing heart. Suzanne Gaither Jennings, the eldest, has long worked alongside her parents, helping to manage Gaither family resources and eventually writing several songs with her mother, including some beloved homecoming favorites. More than just a collaborator, Suzanne has carried the Gaither vision forward, blending business knowledge with a deep respect for their spiritual and musical legacy. Amy Gaither Hayes, the middle child, followed a creative path of her own as a poet, actress, and teacher. She inherited her mother's love for words and literature, often reflecting on how her upbringing was intellectually rich. Dinner conversations in the Gaither household were not casual. They were theological, artistic, and full of curiosity. Amy once said, "Mom didn't just want us to be good Christians. She wanted us to be thinkers, to ask questions, to know why we believed what we believed." Benjamin, the youngest, followed in his father's musical footsteps. As a producer and songwriter, he co-founded Liveborn Media and has worked closely with his parents on many homecoming projects. My music leans more contemporary, but its foundation is still rooted in truth, family, and faith. All 3 children remember their mother not just as a parent, but as a role model. They recall her patience during the chaos of touring years, her writing sessions late at night, and her habit of turning everyday moments into spiritual lessons. Their family vacations were never extravagant, but they were sacred. Time together was always protected. And no matter how heavy ministry